Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peyton Warnock. I'm here with my friend, my beautiful, handsome, intelligent friend, Jalen Diaz. Talk of the Town is back. We have had about a week to digest the NBA Finals. And the first things first, what we got to talk about is Golden State, 4 championships in 8 years. And they beat the Boston Celtics. And Jay, the number one reason they beat those Boston Celtics? Defense, defense, defense.
Yes, sir. I can absolutely agree with that.
Boston's claim to fame this whole turnaround, they went 24-7 to close out the year, all postseason. Their claim to fame was defense. Number 1 ranked defense in the NBA. However, you could tell that the Warriors earned that second spot because with Draymond being out for a while, with Klay being out for a while, with Steph being out for a while, they didn't play at full strength until game 1 of the first round of the playoffs, and they still managed the second-ranked defense. So you can see why they were the second-ranked defense, even with all their pieces not playing together. So it is clear that the Warriors outdid them on the defensive end. Boston averaged, rounding up a little bit, 17 turnovers per game, Jay. 17 turnovers per game. And you could think, maybe they're just throwing it out of bounds and stuff like that, traveling, illegal screens. No. 10.3 of those 17 were steals from Golden State, taking it away, playing the passing lanes, GP picking pockets. So what we really need to focus on here is the fact that this is great team defense as a unit. Like what I'm saying by playing passing lanes, everybody's getting these off-ball steals, reading the eyes of Boston, and that does hurt a little bit when you don't have a true point guard, which I do want to get into later. But first things first, right now I want to give my props to the guys that were giving incredible effort despite not being great defenders, and that being Bjelica, Loon, and Steph, because they're not known as great defenders, especially on the ball on the perimeter, but they worked their ass off. And that was, trust me, we're going to get into more Steph later, but they were working on defense. So, Jay, I know who you want to talk about on defense, so please, let's talk about Andrew Wiggins. Go ahead.
That boy, Andrew Wiggins. Let's just say, that man got drafted when I was going into high school.
Mm-hmm.
And to see this man thrive and survive in it's his 6th season? Yeah.
Maybe even more than that. 8, maybe?
Might be even more than that, honestly. Yeah. Regardless of the fact, though, he literally played that game, what was it, game 5? He played his best offense, and then he locked up the Celtics' best player.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, bro. He had Jason Shambles, dude. He looked like Jason Tatum, and then Jason Tatum looked like 2015 Andrew Wiggins. It was bad out there. It was literally bad out there. Yeah. And granted, I don't have, I'm not a stats guru, but like from overall perspective, like him being able to play the type of defense that he played at from 1 through 5, like wherever, it didn't matter who he was on, he played the best defense he could play possibly, and he got his hands in there, and it was unbelievable. And the fact that they made them turn the ball over 17 times.
Yep.
It's like you can't win the championship. That's not championship basketball.
Nah. You
just can't. That's never ever will be in the history of basketball.
Yeah. So I heard you say you're not a stats guru, but luckily I got some stats for you. You know what I'm saying? So if there was a headline on this, like down there, if I had a headline, it would say Jason Tatum stranded on Wiggins Island. That's what it would say. Because this man, Jason Tatum, shot 37% from the field. And funny enough, when Andrew Wiggins is the primary defender, Boston was shooting 37% from the field. Wiggins was on Tatum for the majority of the time. I know Tatum was seeking out switches on Curry and Poole every once in a while, but most of the time, Wiggins was on Jason Tatum. And he's forcing him into bad shots. And funny enough, Tatum's three-point percentage was actually much better than his overall field goal percentage, which means he's getting the catch-and-shoot shots to go in because Wiggins ain't near him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's not hearing those footsteps of Andrew Wiggins. He's not getting hounded by Andrew Wiggins. So huge props to Wiggins. And, of course, you can't talk defense without mentioning Draymond Green because while he was utterly atrocious on the offensive end for the majority of this series, and I always get on Draymond because in Game 1, that man did not close out on anybody. It's like he couldn't cross the top of the key. He didn't close out at all. And mentally, he checked back in on defense for the rest of the series, and he was holding players 10% lower than their field goal percentage this series. I don't know exactly what the number was. I forgot to write it down, but 10% lower than their season/playoff average when Draymond was the primary defender. And also, of course, GP2 runs in the family with the great defense that he plays. I know he is the smallest guy on the floor, but Young Glove pickpockets everybody. Jaylen Brown, he was taking his lunch money. He was taking Derek White's lunch money. He was taking Tatum's lunch money. Now, GP's, the percentage that opponents shot on GP was a little bit better. Got to remember, this dude is 6'2". Jason Tatum's 6'9". Tatum's shooting directly over him, but he's making it tough. He's stealing the ball, and he's playing great minutes. So shout out to GP2. I'm happy as a fan that we got him back. I'm happy for him like I know him personally. Like, a dude that's been through a journey like that, to be in the G League on 5 different teams, to get a guaranteed contract and play meaningful minutes in the playoffs after an injury that should have sidelined him for the remainder of the postseason. I'm very happy for him. So shout out to GP2 for great defense, but the Warriors in general locking everybody down.
They literally just outright hustled and just outplayed them. Simple as that. Like, you can't. In that last game, all you seen was a hopeless Celtics looking for a bailout. Mm-hmm. They were looking for somebody to bail them out. And honestly, Jaylen Brown, shit, he was basically bailing them out, but nobody else. Yeah. Dude, and the problem was like they would get into the paint and then they'd be like, and then they'll just throw it away. Yeah. And then it's a turnover. And the thing is, the Warriors' best basketball is what? When they turn that ball over and they get on the break.
Running. Yep, 100%.
Because once they get the running, you don't know who's going to be. You don't know who's behind you, who's trailing, and who's in front of you, especially if you just turn the ball over.
Exactly.
So there's just so much into it, though. It's just crazy how they just literally outright bullied the last 2-3 games. It was unbelievable.
I completely agree with what you're saying about transition. And the thing with this Warriors team that previous Warriors teams didn't have is you have the shooters, obviously. Everyone knows you got Poole, Clay, and Curry can shoot. However, what people didn't realize about transition that I'm adding on is that they have a vertical threat now. GP can get up there and dunk. That boy's a Skywalker at 6'2", and Wiggins. I mean, these are two of the bounciest dudes the Warriors have had in their dynasty era. So of course they have the 3-point threats, but you're gonna run out on Steph. Okay, here's an easy dunk for Wiggins, and you could argue that a dunk might be more momentum than a Curry 3-pointer. So to have 10 plus steals per game, that's 10 runouts. Mm-hmm. You got open looks, you got dunks, you got great opportunities, and then that's eventually what would cost Boston the series, was the turnovers and the runouts. But again, to hammer this point home, in all 4 of Golden State's win, they held Boston under 100 points. I know game 1 they let them go crazy when they probably should have held on to the game, but they completely threw game 1. And that was because their defensive intensity wasn't there in the 4th.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say they weren't. I wouldn't say they weren't matched with them in game 1, but in game 1 they just had it. I don't think they approached it the way they should have approached it. Like the way they approached the rest of those games. Like, I think the number one thing they focused on throughout the rest of those games, because that first game it was straight offense. They were just cooking them. Yep. And then the last 3 for them to win the series, I was all defense. Mm-hmm. The Warriors won that series by defense. Granted, their offense, they are a great offensive team, but they knew if they wanted to win the championship, they had to play great championship basketball, and that means defense, and as simple as that.
Another thing I really wanna give a little bit of props to is something that doesn't get recognized as defense, but in my mind it goes hand in hand, and that's rebounding. Robert Williams is without a doubt the best rebounder in the series.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Steve Kerr benches Looney and starts Otto Porter. So I understand why, because if you're forcing all these turnovers, Looney's not running the break, Otto Porter will. I completely understand that. But this is where I want to give even more credit to the guys that are already getting all the credit, Steph and Wiggins, because they stepped up on the glass when there's really only one center for Golden State. I mean, Bjelica is not really a center. Yeah. And even then, he only played 4 of the 6 games.
Looney even at that, too, because, my man was playing some of the best basketball of his career, but like you said, compared to the centers, like the superstar centers or the above average centers in today's league, they're monsters. They're huge. Looney he'll put a body on you, but he's not. He's not a Robert Williams where he's just gonna just pop up like a spring and grab the ball and come down with it.
So So just to mention, Andrew Wiggins led the Warriors in rebounds with 8.8 rebounds per game, much higher than his season average, and Steph Curry bringing in 6 rebounds per game as well as the smallest dude on the floor. So it's not exactly defense, but it does go hand in hand because especially with Looney being fifth or sixth in minutes without even starting, because Robert Williams was supposed to be eating them on the glass. And while he did have a lot of games with, close to 10 rebounds and maybe more, Steph and Wiggins bodying up, getting big defensive rebounds, key defensive rebounds down the stretch as well. I can clearly go back to that game 4 where Wiggins and Curry had every rebound. Curry had 10. Wiggins had a career high 16.
So he had like 16, 17.
Yeah, so rebounding hand in hand with the defense, but we've made it this far, and there's one thing that we got to talk about more than anything else, and that's that man Wardell Stephen Curry, because at the end of the day, defense is only 50% of the basketball game. And on the other half, you got that ball, you got to put it in the hole. So right now we need to talk about Stephen Curry putting Boston to bed. There's a time where you got to put the kids upstairs because it's grown-ups time. You know what I'm saying? It's grown-ups time. So listen to me. Stephen Curry with his best finals performance by far. Really, it's not even comparable to other finals. He's played in 6 of them. It is crazy to say because he's played in 6 of them. But not only was it the points, rebounds, the splits, all that, he was the number 1 guy on offense without a close second against the number 1 defense in the league. So let's just, at the core of it, 31.2 points per game on 48% from the field, 44% from 3, 86% from the line. Once again, this is against the number 1 defense in the NBA and the defensive player of the year. That's what they said anyway.
All right.
Of course, Jay, I want to know what you were thinking about this, but the main thing that needs to be highlighted is you're down 2-1. You're in the Garden. Game 4. 43 points, 10 rebounds. The greatest performance in Stephen Curry's career. I will not talk about any other performances. No bigger situation. No better performance. 14 for 26 from the field. 7 for 14 from 3. Clutch shots down the stretch to even the series at 2-2. Talking to the crowd. Flexing on everybody. That's when the series changed. So Jay, just give me what was going through your mind about that game and what Steph Curry did in Game 4.
And I think in that game, I think they might have been on the bench showing them clips of how everyone said that they wouldn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Dog. He was literally just playing he was like you said, he's playing the best basketball of his career. And I remember you tweeting out, I was like, I don't know. Payne might be right about this, and I had to double back on it, and I'm looking at his performances, bro, and the Garden at that, with the crowd going nuts.
Yeah.
They're gonna be down 3-1. They were up by almost 20. No, it wasn't almost 20. It was like 10. It was like they're up. The Celtics were up by a significant amount of points.
Yeah.
And then he just started playing playing lights out, and by 7 for 14, he's basically shooting 50% from 3-pointer. That's just unreal. He got 10 rebounds. The man probably could have had 50, but it was a couple of shots. He was on some of those shots in and out. But overall, though, it's just that is Steph Curry. That is Wardell Stephen Curry at his finest. And I'm so happy. And at first, I didn't think when they were giving out Finals MVP, I wasn't too sure if I wanted him to win it because, granted. He missed basically 1 game when he had a bad game. But it was I was kind of unsure about it, but then I thought about that game, Game 4 in the Garden, about to go down 3-1, and he don't want to do that because he's been through this before. He's not trying to live that again. He can't, and nobody else. I mean, coming back from 3-1, it's happened to him, but and he do it. He wasn't trying to think about that. He was let me tie this series up. Yeah. We're gonna go back to San Fran, get this dub, come back here and take this motherfucking championship. And I think he wanted to win it in TD more than anything. I feel
he a better man than me. I would have spit on that leprechaun. I swear to God. That's a good man.
He wanted to win that championship in TD more than anything, dude. So happy. I'm so happy. Happy for you. Happy for the fucking Warriors organization,
Three, Jay,
been a long 2 years.
3 out of the 6 games, he shot over 50% or exactly 50%. And like we said, game 4 was one of them. Down 2-1, and if you lose, you're basically done. 1 in 33 are NBA teams down 3-1 in the finals, and the one win was against Steph Curry. And keep in mind, one of the other games that he shot over 50% was the closeout game. The 2 biggest games of the series. You lose, you're done, and then you win it all. Those are the 2 biggest games of the series, and he shot over 50% as the smallest dude on the floor, Jay. He's not running to the basket, jumping over everybody, booming on people. He's taking difficult shots. I think over the last 8 years, we've gotten so used to the fact that he shoots the most ridiculous shots that we don't even talk about it anymore. Some of these shots he's making are stupid. Like, they have no business going in, and we've just gotten so numb to it that we don't even acknowledge it. But
we're at the point where, like, when it doesn't go in, we're like, what the fuck? Like,
exactly.
What is going on? Like, this is bullshit. Like, he could be at the he can make a layup, and we're like, whatever. But like, he shoot a 50-foot three, getting upset because it's not going in because we're so used to seeing him come down court and then turn around and going crazy.
Man,
so
I'm gonna go a little bit off the quote unquote script a little bit. I just want to ask you, like, what do you think was more of like an FU moment? It was 2-1 Boston. And CJ McCollum goes, I picked Boston to win. And Draymond goes, yeah, well, they're going to be ringless just like you. Or Stephen Curry going, where's my ring, with 18 minutes left in the basketball game. What do you think was more FU to the fans and to everybody, really?
Well, easily, where's my ring?
There was 18 minutes left.
It's the fact that you still had a whole quarter of basketball left. And this man was like, "Where's my ring?" And like, when I saw him do that, I'm like, I was like, "Yo, wait, what quarter is it right now?" Because I was like, "Wait, what quarter is it right now?" Because like, I was a little worried because because if they would have came back and lost that game, oh my god, man, that would have been so bad. But he knew, and honestly, at that point, when he did that, I knew too because I was like, "There's no way he was gonna let this lose that game."
He wasn't gonna let him lose.
Dude, he said, "Where?" Yeah, he literally said, "Where's my fucking ring?"
All right. I just wanted to know. I'm reeling it back in. I just wanted to know.
But that Draymond is pretty funny.
That is crazy, yeah. But going back to these splits, I do want to say, like, you brought up Game 5 with how good Wiggins played and how poorly Steph played. I think it's mind-blowing that this dude went 48% and 44%, including that Game 5 where he shot 0 for 9 from 3. And, some people are going to use that. Not logical people, just people, are going to use Game 5 saying that Wiggins deserved Finals MVP. And I'm all for giving Wiggins the praise. But what exactly did Curry do wrong in Game 5 other than miss threes? He was 7 for 13 from 2. He had 8 assists, and he had the highest plus-minus of all the starters. So, you can give me the bad shooting from 3, which is fine. It's happened one time in his playoff career. Go ahead, whatever. But 7 for 13 from 2. He had 8 assists, highest plus-minus, and he's playing good defense, so I'll take the missed threes when what you're doing out there still has a positive impact on the game, because
plus-minus is everything.
It don't matter what Steph Curry's shooting it from 3. They're still going out there to guard him. They're still going to hedge the screens. They're still going to double, and you're still going to get open shots for other players. Shout out to Wiggins because he played out of his mind that game.
You just don't understand the growth, dude. I love seeing growth in that man.
Exactly. But not only did Wiggins have 26 and maybe 13 rebounds.
13, 14, yeah.
No threes, no free throws. Every basket was a 2-point bucket.
Bully ball.
13 field goals made for 26 points. Do the math, everybody. No threes, no free throws. And Wiggins was bullying the number 1 defense in the NBA. Have y'all heard that the Celtics were the number 1 defense in the NBA? Have I stressed that enough yet? Like, oh my god.
So, have y'all heard? That's funny.
Like, just the impact that Steph Curry's had on this series. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins was a great number 2, and you can't win that series without him. Kawhi Wiggins, Scotty Wiggins. Like, this dude was playing two-way basketball all series. And
all series.
Let's be honest, though. There wasn't really anybody on the Warriors that wasn't playing two-way basketball.
I was going to say, bro, that's why you guys won, because when it came down to it in those clutch games, it wasn't just Stephen Curry making those shots that he needed to be making in like you said in Game 5. Like he wasn't making those shots. Andrew Wiggins was making those shots.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Poole was playing good. Otto Porter came in, hit a couple threes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a fair team game at the same time as Warriors. I mean, it was a fair team game for the Warriors and the Celtics. You have nothing but ISO ball.
Right.
You have me. You have ISO. I'm gonna break you
Yeah.
down and dribble to the basket, and then when I get to the basket, I'm gonna freeze. And like, what am I gonna do with the ball? And I'm gonna kick it out. And then what do? Turn the ball over. What does that happen?
Yep.
Transition starts. You got Jordan Poole come down court saying, "Give me the goddamn ball before this clock
Freeze
run
at
out
the
because I'm about
buzzer,
to get freaky."
Listen, I'm old enough to remember that there once was a time where people said Curry was the worst point guard defender in the league. There was a time where that could have been true. He was not a good defender. But the fact that there's still a narrative that he's not playing defense, that's just laughable. That's just laughable. You got to watch these basketball games because the fact that this dude's gotten 15 pounds heavier, all muscle, and he is working his ass off on defense. Granted, he's always worked on defense, but he is still the smallest guy in terms of height and weight on the floor. He's put on weight, he's put on muscle, and now he's playing great defense. Boston is not a team where you can hide. You can't hide Steph Curry against anybody on Boston. Some teams have a weak link in their starting lineup. Marcus Smart is much stronger and bigger than Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you could just say, hey, go guard Marcus. Like, Marcus could put him in the post, and he could put some moves on him. But Stephen Curry averaged 2 steals per game, the highest in the series, and opponents shot 39% when Steph Curry was guarding him. That is including the Game 3 where he was in foul trouble and just letting everybody go by. So I'm sure if you adjust the numbers and you look and you exclude Game 3 where he's literally a traffic cone out there because of foul trouble, I'm sure it would have been even lower. But 39% is what Steph Curry was holding them to. So not only was he playing ridiculous offense, he was shutting down on defense too. And that is why it is clearly one of the best finals performances we've seen in a while. And I do wanna look back at last year to Giannis, who averaged better numbers against a lesser defense. I don't think he played better than Giannis, but I do think given the circumstances, Chris Middleton had 41 game in the finals last year.
I was gonna say,
But given the circumstances that he's playing the number 1 defense, by the way, he's playing the number 1 defense. His second leading scorer, Andrew Wiggins, is only putting up 18 a game. He did play an incredible Game 5, but Steph Curry carrying the load on offense, single-handedly winning 1, maybe 2 games, while also playing good defense as the smallest guy on the floor. I can't say enough about it. So, given what we've talked about, what we've seen, what does this Finals MVP mean for Steph Curry?
Oh, if Steph said, I don't want to play basketball anymore, he's top 5 in his position, bro. Not even. He's top 3 in the point guard talk ever. I don't care what anybody says. This man has won 4 rings in the last 8 years.
Right.
Top 2 and he's not 2.
And you
honestly,
can make the argument.
You can make the argument because, like I just said, he's won 4 rings in the last 8 years. They've counted him out every single time. They said KD is the reason why that he won 2 rings. You know, wait, was it 2? Is it?
Yeah, 2.
It was 2. Yeah, They say KD is the reason why he won 2 rings. They say he can't play defense. They say he's too small. He puts on weight. He plays great defense. And then he goes back after being out of the playoffs for 2 seasons because his team was hurt, and his team was hurt,
Yep.
and he had nobody. You can't do it by yourself. I mean, granted, even that season that they didn't make the playoffs, he had a great season. It wasn't like he had an amazing season.
Yeah.
So it's like at this point, it's like him winning that Finals MVP, just literally just said, Steph, thank you for everything you've done for basketball and what you've done for your career because it's amazing, bro. He should have 2.
Right.
But it's okay. It is what it is. He got his 1. And this one, I think it means more than anything because, like I said, the past 2 years, they've counted the Warriors out. They've counted stuff out. They said, are the Warriors going to, is the dynasty over? Is the dynasty over? And look where y'all at. Right back on top of the world. Like y'all never left, bro. It feels like when y'all won, I was like, it just feels natural to me. The fact that y'all just won this championship. and the fact that Steph Curry won that Finals MVP. It was given. There was no reason for him not to win it
Yeah.
because the man played, like you said, his best playoff series ever, his best championship series ever,
Yeah.
his playoff series, championship series, doesn't matter what you call it. Played the best 2 games of his life, most two important games, like you said, the game to go down 3-1 and a game to win the series, and the motherfucking TV guard.
Exactly. Both of them in the Garden.
And going fucking night, and they both. You're right. And both in the Garden. So yeah, nah. This, I believe if he wanted to say, "Yo, I don't want to play basketball no more."
I'm completely hearing that. I remember there was a quote that he had. I'm not sure when it was. It was sometime this season, but he said he's got more to accomplish, but nothing to prove. And you know what? He just accomplished what he needed to accomplish. Because we know Steph Curry had nothing to prove. If you a basketball fan, if you watch basketball, if you understand basketball, you know there was nothing he had to prove. However, a Finals MVP gonna look good in that trophy case. And he knows he never had one. That's why you saw him break it down like that at the end of the game. After everything they've been through, of out of nowhere really in 2015 to win a title that, let's be honest, they didn't deserve. They weren't the best basketball team in the world that year. They got lucky facing a team that was injured. Granted, the next year Cleveland got lucky facing a team that was injured. You can't change history based off injuries. But you come out of nowhere, you win a title, you go 73-9, and then you're the biggest choke in the NBA Finals history. You bring in Kevin Durant, top 2 player in the league, dynasty, and then all of a sudden, in a matter of 2-3 games, dynasty over. Klay Thompson, season-ending injury. Next season-ending injury. Durant, season-ending injury. He's gone. Steph Curry, 4 games in, broken hand. He's gone. You're the worst team in the league, 15-50. You come back, you draft James Wiseman. He hasn't even played yet. And you got, I will say this about Steph Curry. He is the #1 narrative breaker. Like, nobody breaks a narrative like Steph Curry. I remember last year in their 39-33 year without Klay, where Curry averaged 32 per game. They lost to Portland early on in the year, and Lillard goes, he's finding it hard to get as good a looks without those guys around him. What does Steph do next game? Oh, 62 for your head. Steph don't have a Finals MVP. He can't win it against the odds. He can't win it without a superstar. All right. What he do this year? How about 31 points a game for you against the #1 defense? How about that? Y'all want some of that? You want that Finals MVP? Because now I got it. Listen, just based off of that trophy case, top 10 basketball player to ever play the game.
Absolutely.
And what we don't want to do on this show is bring others down to bring other people up. But as of this moment, if you have Kevin Durant higher than Steph Curry, you need to start watching baseball or something, because this sport ain't for you. Like, Kevin Durant is not on the same level as Stephen Curry. After making a dynasty, Steph Curry won 1 ring without him, got him, won 2, he left, and then won another one. You could tell Stephen Curry's career story, and there's plenty to say without Kevin Durant. You tell Durant's story, there's not much to talk about other than Steph Curry. So,
bounced every goddamn round. Bomb out of OKC.
Listen, Stephen Curry, what my headline right here says, how much does Finals MVP mean for Stephen Curry? Clearly, it means a lot to him to come back after 2 years of just brutal team injuries. And granted, you still had some this year. But to come back and, you know, Curry's not the same player. He can't lead a team. Wiggins is one of the worst #1 picks. Klay Thompson's never going to be the same. He's washed. Draymond's Mr. Triple Single. And you won a goddamn championship. You could tell how much this meant to Steph Curry. And this Finals MVP means that he is solidified himself as a top 10 basketball player to ever play the game. Like you said, if he retires tomorrow, your list will have to have Stephen Curry on him. Peak, longevity, accolades, all of it, he's got it. So just the fact that we got to witness this playoff run, I didn't enjoy any run quite like this one. It felt totally different. Just the way that he had to carry this offense. That boy Klay, man, he was dropping some stinkies. But the way that Curry had to run this offense was just, it was something special to watch. And then going out there and on his slump year, might I add, his year that he had a slump, broke the record for most threes all time. All-Star Game MVP.
Okay.
Conference Finals MVP.
Okay.
Champion. Finals MVP.
Okay.
If that's your slump year, I don't want to know what a good year is gonna look like. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know where y'all got Steph Curry, and if it's not in that top 10, your comments getting deleted and you getting blocked.
Yeah. No.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking Town. Peyton Ward, Jalen Diaz. We will see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all.
He said,